Hello everyone, hope you're all having a wonderful day. Keegan from the Poke2 here, and today guys we're going to be going into my Chaos level 50 Graveborn and Spellshot build, aka the Throwable Hole. Now basically this build is purely for fun. It's purely for fun, but you can implement basically anything you want into this build as long as it's dark magic or something that scales off spell damage, since we are using Spellshot, so keep that in mind. No way in shape or form is it the best build. I did use this all the way up until Chaos level 50. It was a lot of fun to use. There was some moments when I was like, like the Throwable Hole, because it does kind of lack in the flying enemy department. So you're kind of going to need a backup weapon, and I will get into that when we jump into the inventory. But let's not muck around, let's just dive straight into the build video. So we're going to start off with the skills. Let's just jump straight into the skill tree. I did have a video recently of showing how crazy the Throwable Hole is. I was noticing it was hitting for ridiculous amounts, and I had nothing really boosting dark magic damage or anything with the way of enchant. I didn't really do a detailed video of the build, so this is going to be the detailed video. Okay guys, I know there was a lot of questions, but this time around I will be going in depth into the guide, so buckle up, get comfy, grab a snack, because here we go. We're going to go over the skills. Now first off, we are obviously with Graveborn Spellshot. Go over the Graveborn tree first. We're taking Reaper of Bones. Reaper of Bones is pinnacle to this build, especially when you're using our Selective Amnesia class mod. Basically what this does is Reaper of Bones, you put a dot on yourself, you're going to take damage over time, but we get increased dark magic efficiency. It was leech. I don't know why it said leech, because there was nothing else referring to leech in this game. Dark magic efficiency, we get increased dark magic efficiency and bonus dark magic damage. Now this does scale with Graveborn power, as you can see there, the Reaper of Bones. Bonus dark magic damage is scaled by 45% because we have 45.4% Graveborn power. So Reaper Bones, you need it. You kind of need to take it if you are running Selective Amnesia. So let's get into the skill tree. Straight up, we have max out Faithful Thralls. I'm not using any companions besides the Demi Lich that we do have. Like I said, you can fit pixies into this if you guys do like using the pixies and just running through Chaos Chambers like no tomorrow. But we do take Faithful Thralls because a 9% extra damage it's nice. It's a global multiplier. It's better than nothing, and there's nothing really that fantastic in the start of the Graveborn tree. So we do max out Faithful Thralls, and then we do take 2 to Mortal Vessel. Mortal Vessel is just going to get his maximum increase of maximum HP and dark magic efficiency by 6%. The 2 points here for Essence Drain are because of the class mod, so keep that in mind. But obviously this is just a kill skill. Spell cooldown rate is increased for duration. This doesn't really matter because we are taking the Sever the Thread capstone, so that's the whole reason why it's kind of hard to pick something in the top of the tree for Graveborn. Even if you aren't taking companions, Faithful Thralls, this seems to be the best way, because any bonuses to damage is just going to be it's just going to be fantastic. We have Dark Pact here. Dark magic damage is increased by 20%. We're going to, obviously the Throwable Hole is a dark magic weapon. We want to get the most out of our dark magic damage, so we are taking maxed out Dark Pact. We do have maxed out Stain the Soul, because until the other day when I made my video, I didn't realize that the Throwable Hole's explosion scales off spell damage. So it's actually the Throwable Hole's explosion gets bonuses from Stain the Soul, and we get a 25% bonus dark magic damage, and then we're also getting 20% dark magic damage. So the Throwable Hole's already getting 45%. Plus that with the Graveborn power, we get another 45%. That's 90% extra dark magic damage just from the skill tree. Kind of nuts. And then we do have maxed out Ascension. This is where the rest of our points go for the Graveborn tree. Ascension's really cool. It's kill skill, maximum health, and spell damage is increased for a long duration. These Ascension stacks do take a while to decay. We're getting 6% maximum health and 6% spell damage per stack, and we can have 10 stacks. So we can get up to 60% extra health and 60% spell damage when we're at max stacks of Ascension. Good for survivability, makes our Throwable Hole hit that much harder. Let's go into this Spellshot tree. We do have Spell Sniper maxing out. Again, the Throwable Hole scaled off spell damage. This helps it crit just that little bit more. Increased tenfold because of this. Magic Bullets is fantastic. absolute pinnacle to any gun build that you are trying to run with Spellshot. A portion of the increases the favorite maker receives to spell damage is also applied to our gun damage. So any increases we do to spell damage is going to increase our gun damage. Not that this matters too much. It's really nice for the sword explosion, give that a bit of bonus damage. And if there's any other guns you want to run with this build, like Ruby Spite maybe. We have Prestidigation here, we're taking max out Prestidigation. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. For some weird reason, I've never looked at the name of this skill in the skill tree and never tried pronouncing it. Prestidigation. I think I nailed it. We're taking maxed out points in reload speed. That's what I've always called it, just the reload speed skill. With maxing that out 40%, it's going to help because we can throw those throwable holes quicker. Yes, you guessed it. Good job. We're also taking 1 to Mage Arm. I've explained this in a few of my videos recently. If you guys do not know, the curse wheel is still bugged. So we need to fill our shield up and then break it again to get that 100% bonus damage to all nearby enemies. Mage Armor helps with that, and Mage Armor is fantastic for Chaos level 50 runs as well, because you're just able to throw that throwable hole, and that's all we're going to be doing, throwing throwable holes. So we're always going to be refilling our shield. Then when we take a hit, shield just instantly goes down. We get 100% bonus damage to all nearby enemies. We're taking Glass Cannon. We can no longer recharge our ward, but that's fine because we got Mage Armor, bro. We no longer recharge our ward anymore, and we get 30% bonus spell damage, which is good. Throwable hole scales off spell damage, yay! We got high thread count, increases our max spell weaving stacks. If you guys do not know, if this is your first time using a Spellshot build, spell weaving stacks here, if you go up to the class feat, every time we gain a spell weaving stack, we're going to increase our spell damage by 8%. I can have up to 8 stacks, so I can get 56% more spell damage, which is awesome. You can increase your high thread count through class mods, and you can get up to 11, and then you'll be able to take 88% extra spell damage. Imbued weapon, maxing out 5 points imbued weapon. They just recently fixed this. I did mention this on my Frost Shot build. So now when you take 2 spells of the same element, you will be getting the 2 bonuses now. It doesn't just pop up as 1 imbued weapon. Unfortunately, we're only using 1 spell, so we only do get the 10% bonus. We're taking 3, we're maxing out Double Knot. Double Knot is so strong for Spellshot build, and it is just insanely strong with the throwable hole. If you guys saw in the clips that started, it is bonkers. 1 slot, 1 kill. Again, this one doesn't really matter for the build, especially if you're just purely using throwable hole, but it is nice to have for other weapons like the sword explosion, if you want to use Ruby Spite, the Shadow Fire, stuff like that. The Fade Maker gains increased gun damage per stack of spell weaving, so we can get up to 32% extra gun damage when we have max stacks of spell weaving, which is just good because then this also goes with magic bullet. We are taking the capstone Sever the Thread. Gun critical hits have a chance to instantly reset all spell cooldowns, which is going to be great because we're going to be able to get our Buffmeister back more often. We're going to have more uptime on our Buffmeister, which is fantastic. That's basically the skills. Quick overview of the hero points. Maxed out strength, maxed out dexterity. We want as much crit hit damage and we want as much crit hit chance as possible. And then I have slapped in the other points into attunement, just for when we come out of Reaper of Bones. You want to kind of try and get back into Reaper of Bones as much as possible, because that is where the majority of our damage output comes from. Now, moving over to the gear, guys, we of course are using the Throwable NUKE. We are using the throwable hole. I did get a primordial one. I think I was using, I'm not sure if I have it in my inventory, I actually don't. I was only using a volatile one in my previous video I did, where I was like hitting like 20 mil and stuff with the throwable hole. Managed to get this one on the way to Chaos 50. It has made a bit of a difference. I've noticed the damage is just way higher. I don't know why it is just so much higher now that I've got a primordial throwable hole. But yeah, it shouldn't be too hard for you guys to get this. If you are at case level 50, we do have basically a 15% chance to get primordial items. I'm sure if you went to the SMG bunny, you shouldn't have too much of a hard time to try and get these. They're very common for me, at least. I'm not sure about you guys, but obviously, yes, the throwable hole. If you guys do not know how the throwable hole works, you throw it and then it will make like a puddle on the ground, and you're going to want to throw the throwable hole again into the puddle, and it's going to increase its damage by 200%. Yes, and you add that to all the other damage multipliers we're taking. No wonder it hits so hard. And then for the secondary weapon, I really wish this was volatile or primordial, but I cannot seem to get a chaotic, a volatile, or a primordial dark magic sword explosion ×3. I can get every single other one, But the dark magic one, man, I don't get it. I don't get it. I've been farming LeChance like a madman. LeChance knows where I friggin' live now. That's how well we know each other. But anyway, we are taking the dark magic sword Spellshot. This is basically just your backup weapon. You have to deal with the flying enemies. The throwable hole is not going to always get them. The sword Spellshot is a fantastic weapon to go to take down the flying enemies. We all know how strong the sword Spellshot is. Obviously, you're going to want ×3. ×3 is a lot better than just the base damage number on the card. And obviously, guys, you can use the Ruby Spike. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it because you do need to get a kill to activate those smart bullets. Mind you, once you activate those smart bullets, the gun is insanely strong. You can just shoot everywhere, and obviously because they're smart arrows, they distract the enemy. Do so much damage, and it works really well when you're in selective amnesia. If that's the way you guys like to play, use the Ruby Spy. And then obviously also because we're taking a Spellshot class and we're taking so much bonuses to spell damage, of course the Pixie Pistol will work with this build. As soon as you pop Reaper of Bones and start using the selective amnesia class mod, the Pixies, man, they do some damage. They are disgusting. It is disgusting how strong the Pixies are, okay? For the melee weapon, we are using the peg leg. The peg leg is good. You could also use the goblin pickaxe. I personally just like the peg leg just a little bit better. Better because when we hit the enemy, we are going to get a 30% increase to movement speed, and that is really good with selective amnesia. I'll explain that when we get there. And we get reload speed by 40%, which is great because then we can throw the throwable hole out quicker. You can throw pixies out quicker if you're using pixies. It's just really good. For the class mod, we are using the Cursed Wit. I did explain that in the skill tree about taking mage armor and everything like that. That we need to keep breaking our shield to keep getting that 100% increased bonus damage. Ideally, you would probably want one with the 10% movement speed while water is depleted. It's just going to increase the damage that you get from selective amnesia while we're in Reaper of Bones. It's kind of like a best in slot for this build. This Cursed Wit, you don't need the 10%, it's only 10%, but like I said, any damage multiplier you can get is obviously going to help. Buffmeister, guys, we are taking the Dark Magic Buffmeister. Nothing really too much to say about this except that we have 2 spell charges, which is really kind of cracked. We are taking Ka-Chow and Zap. I did mention that in the skill tree. Zap's going to increase our spell power by 80%, and Ka-Chow is going to increase our ability damage by 80%, and our ability crit hit chance by 60%. That's why I want to try this Blast Grass, because we are taking increases to ability damage. This class mod has increased the ability damage, so kind of interesting how Blast Grass works. I am taking the Overflowed Blood Bag. This is going to be fantastic for mobbing. You're going to be able to keep your health really high. When you heal yourself from dark magic while you're at full health, you are going to increase your maximum health. So I've seen it go up to like 15k, 17k, and that's a lot of health, especially in case level 50. You can really tank some of the hits now, which is just going to be better for survivability. Plus, being in Reaper of Bones, you're invincible, which is also really good for chaos level 50. There is some really good survivability with this class, which is what I really like about this as well, besides the fact that it's fun. You can do an absolute bucket ton of damage. For the class mod, guys, we are taking the selective amnesia. Now I can explain to you guys why we're using selective amnesia in case you guys do not know. To sum it up, really, we're going to be putting a fire status effect on ourselves whenever we take non-status effect damage. Shout out to Pugly, he was the one that figured this out. When we're in Reaper of Bones, we can keep selective amnesia fire status effect up the whole time we're in Reaper of Bones for as long as we're in Reaper of Bones. And why this is happening, damage dealt is increased by movement speed. So if we're taking 120% movement speed bonus, that applies to 120% damage when we have the selective amnesia class mod activated. So when we're in Reaper of Bones, we're going to activate Reaper of Bones. We're going to be on fire the whole time we're in Reaper of Bones, and that means that selective amnesia is proccing all the time. So we're taking a lot of movement speed from our myth rank to the Buffmeister to the peg leg to our Cursed Wit with the 10% on there as well. So I think we can get up to like 140 to 150% increase the movement speed with this build. We're getting 150% increase to damage, all damage. This is a global multiplier. That's why it's so nuts. It is so strong with Graveborn builds, especially if you're using Reaper of Bones. Just recently got this class mod. It does have a +3 to Blast Grass. I'm super excited to try that out because whenever we do damage with a spell, there's a 20% chance that we can get a Blast Grass proc, and it's going to deal elemental damage of the spell, and it's going to hit for about 21% of the damage that we did with the spell. One I was running in the clips at the start, which is the volatile one. It is pretty good for this build. I will admit the passives couldn't have been better, but in the video I did like a week ago, I think it was, where I first showed off the throwable hole being able to hit for like 20 mil and stuff. I was just using the regular one. You just want to try and get like movement speed, because obviously any increases to movement speed apply to damage, increases to damage dealt when we have this selective amnesia going while we're in Reaper of Bones. So anything to movement speed, anything to spell damage, all damage dealt, area damage isn't the best one, but it wouldn't be too bad to take because it's going to increase the throwable hole area damage. Something else that I'd like to try as well is maybe if you guys have a Spellshot one with high thread count, you're going to get an extra like 20% spell damage. That would be kind of interesting to see how that works, especially if you get it with spell damage and like all damage dealt, movement speed, stuff like that. Anything that's going to give you an increase to damage is going to be fantastic. So you kind of have a bit of flexibility on the class mod that you take for this build. You can kind of play around with stuff. You just need to have the selective amnesia class mod. That's it. For the rings, nothing crazy. We're just taking spell damage rings, like Y health is above 50%. This is going to be increased by 33%, and then Y action skill is ready, effects increased by 33%. Ideally, Sharkbane's Primordial is going to be better because you're going to be scoring more critical hits all the time. That's really what I'm trying to look for, but these are the best Primordial ones that I can kind of get a bonus off sometimes. So it's going to be better than just the regular purple primordial spell damage ring. Anyway, and that is basically it for the build, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If this did help you out, could you please leave a like? It greatly helps the channel out. And please do not be afraid to leave any comments in the comment section below if you still have some confusion or if you need any questions answered. I'm happy to help. I do try and get to all your comments. And we also do have a Discord server as well, guys. I will leave a link in the description below. Go and join that if you want. Try and I always post like updates on videos. Happy to talk Wonderlands stuff. You can message me direct. Happy to chat and answer any questions you guys have. Also post when we go live. So if you guys want to join the Discord, it will be in the description below. And that is the end of the video, guys. Until next time, take care of yourself. Peace out.